Hello and welcome to Shooting the Shit number 2 episode, or number 260 something. I think that's what it is. Hopefully this is going out. It says it is. I don't know if this is going out properly. It says it is. But all I've got here is a blank screen. Hang on, let me check. Yeah, it's okay. There we go. It's on YouTube's. Right. I am waiting for Judas to come on because the fishy's got a cold. Actually, so have I. But yeah. So I'm going to set up this. So if you bear with me when he comes on, I'll have to go through the checks, right? Right. So first of all, this was interesting from the Express. For some reason, I don't know why it's there and not on other websites. Maybe it's just a trick. I'm not sure. I don't know how the hell they got it first because it doesn't make sense. But I found this interesting anyway. So it says GTA 6 release date, latest. Grand Theft Auto's fans dropped big teasers about Rockstar's plans. I mean, it must be like it would have to be on the new consoles that are coming out later this year, right at the end of the year. I think they are. It would have to be developed for them because there's no way you would launch. Well, you might because they have done it before. Launched it on two consoles. They might do a PS4 and PS5 launch. Anyway, so they've been given big teasers about what they can expect of the official Rockstar Games about their next releases. Here's the Grand Theft Auto's latest news. GTA 6 date, latest update 1. Grand Theft Auto fans could have been given a tease about when they will finally find out about GTA 6 from Rockstar Games. Take-Two Interactive, the parent company of Rockstar, which they are, it's Rockstar Games, it's Take-Two, owns them. Yesterday held a investors call for Q3 2020. Right. And there were a number of eye-catching comments which could provide an insight into how GTA 6 is coming along and when news should drop. CEO of Take-Two reiterated that his firm has their strongest development pipeline in history. However, Grand Theft Auto fans anticipating some of the releases soon may have been dealt a blow. They talked about the firm's development for the next 5 years, potentially indicating some releases are a way off. I told you I had a cold. Oh, there he is. I've got him. Hang on. There we go, drag him in. Should be there. I don't know if he hears me or if we'll hear him. Speak again? Right, they can't hear you. I mean, they can't hear you. Hang on. To see what I've fucked up here. Okay. Let's try this one. Try now.
I'm trying.
There you go. There we go. See, that's why I like people on a wee bit early so we can check this, so it's not in the middle of the show.
It does help.
I know that it was at last minute as well for you anyway, because I got told like that 7 or something, 8 maybe. So only gave you a few hours. Anyway, alright, I'll give you this thing that I'm reading, and then we can see. This is what thingies me about this, right? It's in the Daily Express, and I've not heard
excellent.
I've not heard this from anywhere else, which is really weird because it's like about Grand Theft Auto 6 and Rockstar and stuff. So you would expect it to be everywhere, right?
This is not the thing that typically comes to mind when you think Daily Express.
Yeah, exactly.
This is
Eh,
definitely not in the fucking wheelhouse of the Daily Express.
yeah. So like, so it's on about shares. There's a investor meeting, opening the door with a big announcement on the horizon. In the next few months, Take Two, Bigwig said Take Two's development pipeline over the next 5 years is the largest and most diverse in our company's history, including releases from our biggest franchises. Well, that would be Grand Theft Auto 6. Well, at least this is what this article's saying. Um, but it might not be, because it might be GTA Online and Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. Because that is their two biggest releases at the moment. And they make a
Presumably, they don't. Well, basically, they don't need to do another game until people go, "Oh, well, the graphics are shitty. We want a new one." Basically, at this point,
well,
they don't need to
exactly.
do anything.
They milk the shit out of the cards, and they're like, oh yeah, if you give us like 30
Get a
quid, we'll
car.
give you a
Get
couple of thousand cars. Like, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's like you get one car if you're lucky. Like, it might be the singing
Uh,
old dancing car, but it's like one car, and they make the grind so hard in the game that you have to pretty much like buy the cards. So if you're milking a game, like if you've got a milky game, right, and you're making shitloads of money off it, why would you fuck it up by bringing out a new one?
the only reason would be when people stop giving you money
Mm.
for not doing very much.
So
Like I say, basically,
uh,
people are like, "Oh well, now it looks shitty, and I want it on my PlayStation 27."
5.
Presumably, at that point,
Well, the PlayStation
no,
5 and the new Xbox is coming out like probably at
or
the end of the year, for sure.
the XS or whatever, right? It doesn't really
Mm.
matter. I mean, PlayStation 27.5 and
Mm.
Xbox with an A on the end.
Mhm.
Apple Station.
But we're
The
going to
X
get
have
into that in a minute. They're actually basically AMD fucking gaming rigs now at this point. They've got
I'm basically, I'm very much on the who gives a shit
well,
level of
it's
consoles at this
basically
point.
it's basically a shitty PC that you could buy from a game. Think about going to PC World and buying a gaming PC for a couple of grand. Like, that's basically what you're getting in a console. And like one that you build yourself would be like 10 times better and like half the price. That's just pretty much what you get for a console nowadays. It's all AMD
Plus,
parts.
plus all the all the things you don't get with a PC, like being able to do spreadsheets, which is what everybody has a PC for.
Right. Well, it's not only that, right? But it's the
Spreadsheets. It's my life. Don't you invalidate my lived experiences, Kat.
it's like, well, I could not
This
do
is what
this. I could not do this show if I didn't have a PC.
well, probably. I'm sure. Well, they have. I'm sure they have fucking Twitch or whatever on these fuckers, don't they? I'm sure most people are like, wouldn't give a shit if they're
No, I'm talking
plebeian. Then
about
they're
this
obviously
show. I'm
not.
talking about the radio show. Like, there's no way. Like, you could
I
probably
know,
do a
I'm saying
shitty Twitch stream
equivalents.
with
Well, that's
with
my point, Kat.
a Twitch stream, or I don't think you can do YouTube. I'm not sure, but you could do a Twitch stream with your shitty gamer headset that sounds like pish.
I think my point
But
is, Kat. For it's a case of it's a case of good enough rather than actually is this a proper PC? Because most people don't give a fuck. Okay, I mean, let's be realistic. As long as they got their, most people, a console is based in this country at least. It's a well, actually, it's a FIFA box or a Madden box.
yeah, yeah,
If you're across the ocean, it either plays FIFA or Madden. That's basically
yeah.
what a console is.
Actually, not a lot of a lot of the people that I know, like all the wee Neds and shit, they don't play that. They don't play FIFA that much. They're mostly
Well,
into
they're playing.
like COD and Grand Theft Auto, and that's about
Well,
it.
it's all the same. Well, basically, it's all the same fucking thing. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's like whatever. It's like,
Mm.
why wouldn't you make the same thing over and over again? It's like this is proving the point of like at the point at which people are going, well, we want a better version of GTA Online. They're just going to sell it possibly at GTA 6. Whether they even bother with a single player game is another matter altogether.
I'm not sure if they will actually. That's a good point. They've made so much money from the online things that I don't know.
It'll probably just be GTA Online 2 or something, more likely.
Yeah.
And it'll be like, I mean, you can imagine, what can they do? They could go back to like Vice City or to Liberty City as a setting.
Oh, Vice
Why
City
not do
would be fucking amazing. Like,
why not both?
that was my favourite. Vice City was my favourite.
Yep, I mean, particularly the soundtrack.
Yeah, the
and
80s.
I have to say, having been to Miami, Miami is basically Vice City.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I've been to all the cities that the Grand Theft Auto is from
New
the original.
York, New York,
From the original. And
LA.
this is all from the original 1998 game.
Yeah, that had all the cities. They had
all
like they were different
Liberty
levels.
City. Yeah.
San Andreas,
basically,
Liberty City, San Andreas, and what was the other one? I can't remember.
Vice City.
Vice City, which is
Vice-
Miami.
Yes, basically. And it had basically the first one. It had the map. It's basically these are stereotypical. Like if you're going to choose 3 fucking cities out of the entire United States, these are like very good stereotypes for what you're going to do.
Yeah,
That's
one's the
basically
north, one's like
stereotype.
one's the south, one's the north, and
Northeast.
one's like the California area, isn't it?
You got the California, New York, and your fucking Miami. I mean, it doesn't go through every like possible combination of America, but these are the ones that a lot of people are going to be familiar with.
Yeah,
and what I can say
the ones that are in
I-
all the movies. All the movies do depict
Yes.
all them 3. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah, and I've been to all the real life counterparts, and I have to say, they got it spot on. Basically, it's like all the stereotypes are basically true.
Well, that's what they do. They actually they go take photos and stuff and basically take the stereotypes and morph them up to like ridiculous levels. That's why it's funny.
But I mean, it's because the other thing is obviously because they're Scottish. I assume most of them are still Scottish, right?
Yes,
I mean,
they're
obviously
still
they're
here.
mostly they're obviously they're not living out in America. They've
No.
probably been. I'm sure they've been out there, but I mean, it just shows you how spot on their assessment of, like, I guess as a parody of America.
It is.
has
That's
been.
exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's always been that though. It's always like
But I mean, but you get good parodies and bad parodies, and I would argue that Grand Theft Auto is not just a good parody; it's a very accurate one.
yeah, but that's because they're Scottish. They're like fuck you, dickheads, kind of thing. Like you know what I mean? They don't give a shit. Like I couldn't see any other game devs going that far.
Well, that's part. I mean, that's part of. I guess that very much works for the like. We're just going to do it as it is, but obviously, you could have games which is like, oh, we're just going to put some bullshit. We're going to put some tits or whatever in it, and it doesn't make it like bold or daring. There's intelligence. It's not dumb. I think it was basically what I was saying.
Okay,
it's not
that's
stupid.
Okay, so the difference is, I would say GTA. The equivalent to GTA for American developers would be Saints Row, right? Saints Row.
Yes, I was thinking you were about to say that because it basically does the same thing, but it is very much a spin-off in the sense of rip-off rather. It's a rip-off.
Yeah, but it's an American rip-off because it's an American comedy rather than the satire and comedy that GTA has.
Well, you know, that's Americans don't really do satire.
Mm-hmm.
They have to.
But that's what I mean.
They don't do satire, whereas like that satire is our primary fucking comedic form in this country.
Pretty much. That's why you can tell where it comes from. Like you can definitely tell it's a British game, just because of like the signs like Fudge Packers .inc on the signs of some warehouses and stuff, and
Yes.
instead of Sprite, it's Sprunk.
You see, yes, that's. I don't think those. I'm pretty sure those aren't Those are not slang words that Americans would be familiar with. Fudge packer for somebody who is of homosexual persuasion.
Yeah. So,
Probably, I don't think that's one that has travelled the ocean, as far as I'm aware.
But they can get away with it because, like, oh, it's just a fudge
Well, that's
packing
the point.
company.
Well, that reminds me, actually. What was it? I can't remember what. Oh, yeah, I was watching Taken 3, and there's a scene in it where Liam Neeson is talking to one of the Russians who's fucking doing whatever they're doing. He's to chase his daughter, whatever the fuck, and he says "suka," and it's like subtitles are like scumbag, and it's like, well, that's not. I mean, it's much ruder. As I've been told by a Ukrainian, that's where I learned all my Russian swear words from. That's considerably ruder, but that's a
Right.
typical thing. Like if you watch like any film from the 80s where like the peak of like fucking action films with Russians in it or whatever,
Yeah.
make sure you've got your Russian friend on hand to actually explain how the subtitles are making it a lot less obscene as what they're
Right.
actually saying. Because you can get away with it.
Yeah. Okay. I never knew that. That's good to know.
Oh, there are some excellent Russian swears. I thoroughly recommend looking them up.
Do they actually mean it? Like, so you think they mean it, and the subtitle guy went no.
No. They clear. Well, no. I mean, I don't. I'm not sure whether it. I'm not. I mean,
Like,
I
is
see
it
what
in
you're
the
saying, whether or not they-
script? Is it in the script, or did they just do that anyway because?
Probably in the script it probably said he swears at them in Russian or so. I don't know. It depends who wrote it, I guess. But what else is there? There was like Red Heat's, the Arnold Schwarzenegger one that didn't do particularly well. It is not well remembered. But whoever the bad guy in that, he said something similar. And I remember a friend at the time I lived in a flat in when I was in uni. And he said, like, he laughed and he said, what he just said is a lot fucking worse than what they put in the subtitles. So yeah, it happens. That's definitely what they do.
Yeah, I think that's why I like the Grand Theft Auto things, because I sit there and sometimes listen to the radio, and there's a lot of radio
yes.
things that comes up, and it's like a complete parody of like some politician in America.
Yeah, all the adverts and stuff.
Yeah, the adverts, the talk radio shows like the best, because you get the hillbillies coming on, and you get like the conservatives coming on, and then you get like the liberals coming on.
Yeah, there was like you got the fucking Glenn Beck, fucking Alex Jones. It's just great. And then you have the liberal ones that talk fucking, or the stoner one that are talking about fucking flower power and get weed and all that shit. Yeah, great. I mean, they're on point. They're all on fucking point. They know how to take. I mean, they're not giving. It's not like they. This is why it's great. Is because they're not like pushing any particular agenda to say any of these people are like they're right. All of them are made ridiculous, and that's the best way to do it. It's like when people talk about, oh, you put politics in there. If anything, it would be an anarchistic one. Or
See, I need
because
that.
why wouldn't it be? This is Grand Theft Auto we're talking about.
Yeah, like we need an American to come on and say if they get that shit, because I'm not sure. Because I don't know why it's not got enough backlash. Because if you said half the shit on Twitter, like you would get massacred. You'd probably get banned off Twitter if you said half the stuff that they come out with on the talk show, on the radio talk show.
Well, you see, people.
So I don't know if they actually get it, or they're just letting them away with it.
I think they just didn't pay attention, Kat. To be honest, it's just that simple. They're not paying attention.
It probably is. They're too busy playing the game.
Well, basically, that's the thing. This shit will just wash over the top of people's heads. You know it will, right?
But I used to sit there, okay, see when I got bored or whatever, I would just sit there and play the radio.
Well, I
get
mean,
the talk radio and have a laugh, because I thought it was funny as fuck.
I mean, a lot of people won't remember, like the first two games were obviously top down rather than the 3D interactive worlds we're all used to.
Yeah.
But the first one in particular had all original soundtracks but they were
Yes.
like it's all really good music by BMG, British music group. But I think they're sort of like minor artists. I don't know if they're trying to get it in the breakout, but there was some really fucking good original music on that CD.
I think the guy that done at least the radio edit bits was just a guy they found and just went, "Can you do this?" And he went, "Aye, possibly." I'm pretty sure that's what happened. There's a story behind the radio anyway.
I remember with like because it depending on which type of vehicle you got into as well. So if you got into the pickup truck, it would always play. I think it was track 5 on the CD, which is like this very
rednecky,
rednecky thing. And then the track ends, and then the announcer goes, "I think that was so good, I'll play it again." Because it just goes round.
Yeah.
And obviously, because it's CD, it's just literally a music track. So he just says,
"Yeah, he just plays it again,
and again and again." And that I don't think you could change the radio either. So basically, depending on which car you got into, that's basically the music you would be listening to.
Yeah, that's basically how it worked. Yeah, it was like it was just 1 or 2 songs for each radio station, and it would just repeat them
forever
with the DJ coming on and saying stuff, and then it would repeat the songs again. Obviously, they had no room.
That's what you have. So
they had no room, right?
It's on the CD. Well, it's a CD. You've got. Yeah. I mean, it's literally a music CD. Put it in your stereo player. You can play that, my lad.
Yeah.
Take it on your Walkman.
Yeah. In fact, I actually ripped some of the talk radio shows and did actually do that. Like off GTA 3. Is it GTA 3 was the first one with Laszlo and the talk radio, and then Vice City had and I think all the 3D ones had like a talk radio station.
Well, by that time they're all obviously using MP3s.
DVDs, yeah, they were DVDs, and they were also MP3. No, the format was.
They're not using CD audio because obviously that is very
big
memory. There's a lot of memory there or a lot of storage on the CD. So Vice City, I've got 2 CDs, so it doesn't take up. I mean, you could obviously put it on a DVD, but. The important thing is, once they started using MP3s, obviously you could get a hell of a lot more.
Well, it's like
I mean, you get about 10. You get about 10 times as much for the same amount of storage space.
Yeah, I think it's about roughly, one, say.
You could say about
normal song, right? One normal song for 3, 4, 5 minutes, right? It's about a 50 megabit wave file, and that'll turn into a 5 megabit MP3.
Exactly, it's about 10 to 1.
Yeah, so it's
obviously it depends on all the fucking encoding options or whatever. But typically it's like typically it would be like 128, and it's like you won't fucking notice a difference, and people
actually
you get older. Well, I mean, not when you're playing a fucking game which is mixed in with all the rest of the audio.
No, you wouldn't. No. No, but you do if you
on its own.
MP3 on its own from 128 to 192, you can definitely tell the difference if you've got decent speakers. And the speakers now, it's decent speakers is the point, or decent headphones. If you've got shitty ones, they won't, because they cut off that frequency that the MP3 cuts off anyway, right?
Yes.
So if you've got stuff that's just meh, you're not gonna. Well, no, meh stuff would, but like if you've got total crap stuff, it's not going to give you the hertz anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you can tell the difference between 128 and 192.
Well, even then, Kat, I would say it's not so much whether you can tell the difference, is whether or not you care at the end of the day. Now, for some people, they're going to say, oh, well, I really want it to be the highest quality ever. And other people are going to be, whatever, it's good enough. And I think good enough
people
versus...
Most people are retarded.
Well, that's not a matter of retardation, Cat. Think about it, right?
Okay,
Do you want to
no,
Let's
I
put
will
it this
tell you
way. Do you
something.
want
Put it
more?
this way.
Do you want more? Do you want more, or do you want less with better quality? Because if you
I'll just
wanted
get
to
more
go down
space.
on CD, right?
Right.
Which would be silly. Which would be silly. I say don't compress it at all.
Mm.
Right? I mean, you see what I'm saying, right? It doesn't make.
No,
I mean,
yeah, no.
you could. There's always trade-offs in all of these things, but the basic point being,
Well,
that
put it like this.
necessarily
Put it like this.
Red Doors-
People listen to YouTube music for fuck's sake, and that's it. That's at 64k. That's it.
Yeah.
64 instead of 128. Like, and honestly, YouTube's really bad for music, but people just go to YouTube and play the music, and they're fine with it.
Well, it's because it's accessible. You want to hear the music more than you want to worry about the audio encoding. Most of the time, it's on your fucking phone anyway. So what do you give a shit?
Exactly. It doesn't matter if it's coming from your phone speaker. Who cares? If it's coming from one of the Bluetooth speakers, who cares? Because it's like a £2 speaker or whatever, right? But if you put that stuff into like a decent hi-fi,
Which nobody does.
and you'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, if you put on it the normal one, like a CD version, and then a YouTube version, you will notice it. You'll be like, what the fuck is this? That's like, there's no depth, there's no, it's weird. You just have to try it to notice, and you'd have to try it side by side, because if you're not concentrating on it, there's no way you'd notice. Even with decent stuff. Like, there's so many little frequencies that you miss out on, and it just creates depth. It doesn't change the music, it just creates depth.
Well, I mean, the battle is generally already lost before it's begun on that front because of compression, which is basically used on everything. So, I mean, you forget about that.
No, but I'm saying
everything's
I'm saying YouTube's compression is
no,
worse
I
than.
do not mean, no, I'm not talking about compression as in what happens to the music or the sound after it gets encoded digitally. I'm talking about compression as in at the production stage, where they do frequency compression on everything to make it seem louder.
They actually do that now, because everything has to be louder, and it's fucked music. See, if you look at a waveform on music,
I mean, it doesn't,
from
it
the
doesn't
old
matter
school
when all
shit to the
when
new school shit,
when-
it's like, holy shit.
when all the dynamic range is gone, it doesn't really matter at that point, does
That's true. That's true, because it's gone anyway. They're just going to fucking put it up on YouTube and fuck it all up anyway. So why should I bother? I'll just whack it up louder so it sounds better for them. The retards.
Basically.
I shouldn't have got started on this. When I get started on it, I go into depth. Oh no! I only got started on this when I started messing more with audio, and I started like going, wait a minute. Like, because I used to have like 5.1 and stuff like that, and I was like, that's excellent. And then I just got like an actual decent pair of stereo. It's like, actually, that sounds much better. It just does. It already does your 5.1. If you place the speakers properly and you set them up so that you get the sound field, it doesn't matter if you've got 10 speakers or 2. It really doesn't. Apart from movies sometimes, and maybe like a subwoofer, but if you've got that...
Well, I find the subwoofer helps a lot. I've got a 5.1 setup. The only problem is it is very difficult for the rear, because really, ideally, I probably want to set them up at a higher level, because, I mean, obviously I'm at the back of my room. I really can't move the speakers into the house behind me and have it work. So
right.
The rear speaker setup is a bit of a tricky knobbler,
Yeah.
unless I move closer to the television, and then I've only got like half the room, so it doesn't really fucking work. So I mean, it's okay because I move them about. If I move about on the sofa, I'll just adjust them a bit, and it kind of works out. But it's not ideal. But the sub, I think, is the one thing that helps the most. You notice when the sub is on and off.
Well, yeah, but if you don't need, like me, I'm now at my dad's, so if I got a sub in here, my dad would go fucking mental.
Well, I'm not even talking about necessarily like, oh yes, all the basic stuff. I'm talking about you do, even if you're not like playing drum and bass, or you're watching something
No,
normally,
no,
and you think
no,
that's
no.
not
It's the same
got
thing. If
particularly
guns
bassy.
go, no, honestly, like my speakers that I've got, they only go to 50 watt, and honestly, I've never had them past less than halfway, and they're bassy enough. They can bounce the wall easily. If I had added a subwoofer on that,
Well, what I'm saying
it's,
is most of the stuff that you're playing, typically, even if you don't think, oh, this is really bassy stuff. What I'm saying is that you will notice the enhancement with a subwoofer.
yeah, but it'd be too
It
bassy.
just feels. But no, I'm. What I'm saying is, let's take something that is not particularly bassy in any way whatsoever, right? Turn your subwoofer on your home cinema setup, right, and then turn it
Yeah.
off, and you will notice a
Oh
difference.
yeah,
Even
no,
if what you're
okay,
watching, yeah,
okay, right. That's because that's because the the wee speakers on your 5.1 setup don't do bass, right?
exactly. This is
They're not for bass. I'm talking about like just a normal pair of like studio standard speakers, small shelf speakers that are basically mostly for full range. You can add a subwoofer, but you don't need it. But if you've got these wee tiny ones for the
with these.
5.1 stuff, they don't even
I
do
don't know.
mid range properly.
I mean, it does have. I mean, I'm just looking at it. I could definitely see the tweeter in the mid range. Not sure bass.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's got three.
how
It's
big's the
got
mid
three
range?
speakers on it. Hang on, I've got one behind me. They're all the fucking same. I don't know offhand. So I mean, it's got three different speakers on it.
Well,
So
my one is like a what is it, 4.5-inch speaker
I mean, I haven't
with
got
a
the fucking
tweeter.
tech spec with me, so I don't know. Basically, is what I say.
Yeah, but it'll be a wee satellite speaker, right? You know what I mean? It'll be
Well,
like a little
it's not a
cube thing.
tiny. It's not. I mean, it's how. I mean, that's about 8 inches tall.
Oh, you've
I'm
got
not sure if you.
you'll have a better setup then. That would
Yeah,
have been
but I mean, it's
expensive.
not that expensive. I mean, I can't remember where I got it, but I mean, a decent setup. So I mean, it's the amp that's the most expensive component of it, and the sub
Yeah,
probably.
yeah.
Otherwise, not too bad really. As get for the price.
Yeah, well, I've just got like two studio standard speakers that are 4.5-inch each, and they do fucking the full range. They were better than all. I've had the Creative 5.1 speaker system. I've had the I've had two Creative 5.1 systems, and both of them were quite expensive at the time. Like one was 550 quid or something, and the other one was 300 or something. And I find these studio speakers are like just better in every way, and they were like 150 odd pounds, and they're just a lot better for just everything, especially music. Maybe not movies, games, possibly, but definitely music. You can hear more depth. It's weird. Like even though you had 5 speakers and a subwoofer, you get more depth with these ones, and it doesn't have to bounce the whole fucking house to get the depth. Because it's like the subwoofer just takes over everything with the other things. It was too loud, and it's weird. It's weird. If you don't want bass, if you don't need the bass, the extra bass, you could just telling you, just get the fucking studio speakers, and just rig them up to your PC. You'll get a better audio. You get better audio, and you can also rig up a bass. They've got a subwoofer out if you want to add a subwoofer to it as well, and that'll give you your bass. It's all about how you set them up in your room as well. Like you have to. There's a way to set them up, just for one chair though, which is what I've done. So if I'm sitting on my PC chair, it's perfect. But if I'm at the right or left of it, you lose it because it's not set up for that area. It's hard to
Yeah,
explain.
I mean, No, I mean, basically, the way my house is laid out, I don't. That is not possible. It's basically everything's in the living room because
Yeah, no,
like
but
the
it would be
bedroom has a
possible.
bed.
It would be possible for two speakers though.
Well,
If you,
I've got the 5.1 set
yeah,
up.
that's the problem because 5.1's more hassle, right? Because you have to move all the
It is,
speakers about to get to the right angle.
but that's only really the rear speakers because the front speakers is fine.
But you could put the rear
It's not a problem.
speakers to the side.
Well, I mean, that's what I've got. The only problem is, can't really. I mean, if I'm sitting on the left or right
Put
side,
them up
it
in the
makes a
ceiling.
difference. That's what I mean. That's what basically I'm thinking. I'm gonna have to do that. It's the only sensible option to get them far enough away. So it's basically because basically the important thing, isn't it, is to get it basically equidistant, and that's
Yeah,
exactly what I wanted to do. Is get some sort of shelf up there,
yeah,
just underneath the ceiling that I could actually do that with,
yeah.
rather than I didn't really run on a like fucking
Get the
screw
wee.
them into the ceiling or
Well,
anything.
you could get the wee speaker brackets that you put up on the wall. The wee fucking. And you can swing
I mean,
them.
'cause
Do you know the TV brackets? How you can you get a TV
yeah,
bracket goes on the wall. You can get
yeah, I know
speaker
exactly what
brackets
you're
like
talking about.
that. You can get speaker ones
Well,
like that, and you could move it about.
well, what I was thinking is something, because there's, I mean, if I get a nice looking shelf, I could put other shit up there as well. I don't need to access so much,
You could do that.
but yeah, I mean, the main thing is I did measure it out once, and I was thinking if I could get a 3 meter shelf, then that would be about ideal. I could have one unified block of fucking wood, and if I was going to do that, I'd basically have to make it myself because nobody fucking sells that shit. It's just nobody sells something that's 3 meters long.
You could
Not
get
that
two
surprised,
shelves.
to be honest.
You could get two
Well, I mean,
1.5 meter shelves and put them together.
yeah, but it's like I kind of what I want is a nice fucking big solid block of fucking wood. Hook that shit up, and then
What about
I don't know.
IKEA? IKEA have all
Nah,
these weird dimensions.
nah.
You
I've
could
said so.
actually,
I mean,
you could go to B&Q and get them to cut a bit of wood for you.
well, this is basically what I'm saying. Is what I should do is just get a couple of I don't know, 4 brackets probably is
Yep.
placed
Yeah.
apart. It's probably enough, and just get
Go,
a fucking
go,
nice looking bit of wood and just screw
yeah,
that shit together.
yeah. Go to B&Q, get them to cut a bit of wood for you, and then just buy their brackets for the shelves. There you go. That's how you
Basically,
do it.
that's probably the only thing is then what I need to do is to have the back not flush with the wall because I want it a bit forward so that the wires can go behind.
Mm.
That's the only thing. Because otherwise, I don't know what. Otherwise, maybe I'd have to have them going under the fucking shelf or something, and then like tape that shit down or something. I don't know. It could get. That's the only. That's the only fucking thing about that is dealing with fucking wires.
Mm-hmm. You could get a. Hold on, no, that'd be expensive. I think you could probably get a wireless setup that would do that for you.
Well, I mean, but I mean, I've got them. I've got what I've got, so I don't really want to have to fuck around with that sort of shit. And then,
No.
obviously, if it's wireless,
All you do, right? So I'm pretty sure there's a system out there that will take the wires from the amp, right, that go to the rear speakers, and
Yeah.
make it and turn it
Well,
into a wireless, and then you put a wireless system on the speaker, and then
no,
it
I know
goes
what
into
you
the
mean,
speaker.
man, but
I think
it still means what I've got to
extra shit.
have.
It means extra shit and probably a lot of expense.
Even more battery power. I've got to plug. I'll get some other power supply and
Yeah,
plug that shit in. It's just not worth the hassle.
that's
I
true.
mean, these are minor. These are all minor niggles that one day I might be bothered enough to sort out.
You could have a wee gap behind the
complain.
shelf. You could just
Well, that's
file
what
a
I'm
wee
saying.
gap, on the shelf and put the wire through that.
Like I say, it's a minor thing. It's nothing. This is just my thought. As if I was going to have it set up
Yeah.
that way, that's probably what I'd do. But yeah, I mean, having a small one just for the speaker. The only problem for me on that one is the idea I was thinking was basically if I needed to adjust them, it's very easy then to adjust. Obviously, once you put a fucking shelf
Well,
up, you can't really move the bastard.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying with the TV like bracket one. You can move them side to side and up and down because it's like a TV
Oh, I mean
bracket.
more. I'm thinking more laterally. Obviously, you don't know what my room looks like, so it's difficult to describe. But
No,
basically, it's
you could move them laterally though, because it can't like you can move them side to side, so that'd be laterally, right? And you can move them up and down, but
But that's
only
the thing. It's more a case of how much. Anyway, we're just going to repeat. I mean, we both understand what we're saying, so
yeah.
I
And
think we might as well move on to something else there because we're just
right,
talking
so
about.
I've just put that thing in the Ubisoft boss has come out and
Boss.
talked about the you can take that, and I'll be back in a minute.
Very
'Cause,
well. Okay.
I don't know how we got
Ubisoft.
into music anyway. Oh yeah, the GTA
Well, 'cause it
fucking
is-
radio.
yeah,
Yeah. Right, go. Cat.
the
What?
base, the basic
Right.
summary of that story being that we don't understand why the Daily Express would be fucking reporting that, but who cares? Anyway, here's some.
There's something about the CEO said they're going to have a Q3 thing, and we've got big announcements coming, and they basically just speculated it'd be GTA 6, which I don't know.
Doubts.
It might be. I have doubts.
From the same company,
Probably
from the
GTA
same
Online
from
2 or
the,
something.
from the company that brought you GTA comes LA Noir, where we will now use a doubt meme from that to express doubts at the Express for their speculation. And on to the next one. Ubisoft Bus says PS5 will run almost all PS4 games and possibly more in the subheader, which possibly is the editorial. I don't know, but it's by Stephen Talby, whoever the fuck he is. I think the most important thing to note here is I don't think Ubisoft's boss is doing more than presumably repeating what Sony says, because I doubt he has much control over the backwards compatibility. But since, as we discussed earlier, all consoles are basically some sort of PC these days, yeah, I mean, surely it's just a matter of whatever fucking random encryption chips or something they put in there, which I'm sure they can just fucking slot in as and when they please. But anyway, let's get on with actually see what they say.
Right back.
PlayStation 5 will be backwards compatible with PS4 games. This we know, but to exactly what extent has been kind of up in the air. The hope is that all your current gen software will run as expected on the PS5, but Sony has yet to officially confirm how far the console's backwards compatibility will stretch. In a new quote from Ubisoft, it sounds like Sony will have almost everything ready to go. During a financial call, the publisher's head honcho, Yves Guillemot, answered a question regarding next-gen systems and backwards compatibility. And I guess, given his name, he's probably French. Those consoles will be running almost all the back catalog with the previous consoles.
It's
it will be
Ubisoft.
something new in the industry. It will help the old generations continue to be big consoles on the market for many years to come. But my best sort of French chef accent for some reason, I don't know. I assume he's a French chef. They're all chefs. Or they all think they're chefs. That's the important thing. French stereotypes. It's an interesting quote and suggests the PS5 will play almost every PS4 title. However, there's definitely some wiggle room in his words. You could, for example, read in a statement that PS5 could run PS3, PS2, and PS1 games too. The old generation, if you
There's
will.
no fucking way. There's no way.
This is pure speculation, obviously, but given he hasn't specified machines, it could mean, well, we know for a fact, right, the PS3 and the cell architecture is not something you can easily emulate, because really it's the most
I don't even think there's an
architecture.
emulator on that yet. I'm not sure if they've done a PS3 emulator on the PC yet.
When I was doing my computer science degree, at that point, the PS3 was basically the current gen.
Yep.
And I remember doing a advanced hardware architecture course, which basically we went over quite a lot, because the cell is a very interesting device.
It is. I remember reading all the magazines about it, and it was an IBM architecture
Yes,
cell
they did.
thing, and it was weird.
Yes, there was a collaboration. Basically, the idea was you had, in the case of the PS3, if I remember, they had basically had 8 cells, and each
Yes.
cell was like a very highly pipelined, generic sort of processing unit. The
Yeah,
idea being,
but it wasn't like a normal CPU. It was more like a hybrid
no.
between a CPU and a
No.
GPU. It was really weird.
No. Because, well, let me put it this way: all a GPU is basically a processing unit that is highly optimized for a particular pipeline.
Yeah, you know.
In a cell, basically what you've got is you've got X number of pipelines that are essentially, you program what you want to go for the pipeline and it does it.
Yeah.
So if you would have if I remember correctly, in PlayStation you had Cell 0, and that would be, they would sort of use that as a sort of master
CPU.
controller.
Yeah.
It had an AMD processor of some sort as well, which would do sundry tasks, obviously, just your basics setup and stuff. You could then decide as a developer, like, okay, I want to have this processor fucking doing all this set of graphics. I don't know, fucking textures, and or this one's doing all physics calculations or whatever. And the important thing is not so much that that you could like choose one to do a particular task, although obviously inherently multi-processor by design, because you've got 8 independently acting, completely independent cells, which would be coordinated in order to actually do stuff at the end of the day, all being able to obviously marshal memory and stuff all across them. But the basic thing would be you can do what the fuck you like with any of them. If you want to have all 8 of them doing fucking physics simulations, why the fuck not? That was one of the interests basically for the earlier models of the PlayStation 3, the ones that had was it Yellow Dog Linux on it, which you could actually hack before they basically locked that shit down.
Okay, no. So I think the PS3 was it? No, it was the PS2 that was the cell processor.
No,
I'm pretty sure it was.
You're wrong.
I'm sure it was.
But you're wrong.
Because
in the PS2, the main thing the PS2 they advertised was the Emotion FX chip, which did something to do with fucking some textures and faces or something. Well, that's how they sold it anyway. It sounds a lot like Blast Processing.
It was developed by Sony and
IBM, yes.
IBM and Toshiba. Okay. It's in the Xbox 360. It was
in the Xbox 360. I'm pretty sure the Xbox 360, talking about PCs, it was basically a PC. I'm pretty sure they didn't have the cell processor.
The Power X cell. Hang on. Optron, IBM. Sony Computer Entertainment 2005.
Yes,
yeah, you're right. It's the PlayStation 3. It's a PlayStation 3 console. Yeah, you're right.
Why? I literally pointed out how I was at a university where they were using it. They were hacking it in order to make use of the cell for other more geeky, highly pipelined parallel processes. Where of university interest rather.
I remember they'd done that because they hacked the PlayStations. They hacked the PlayStations to run Linux so they could run all these geeky programs like, I don't know what the scientists do, but the scientists geek programs.
Well, they're very much...
Because they were really cheap. They were really cheap compared to like buying a PC, and they would do better at it, so they just hacked them.
Less buying a PC, more buying like a supercomputer, right? When you've got like, you can basically get a cheap supercomputer, which you can completely customize what your pipeline is.
Yeah, they linked like, I think the army had them too. Like they linked like 500 fucking PS3s all together and basically built a supercomputer, and like, yeah, that'll do. I don't know how they did it, but
the sort of applications. I mean, there are many highly parallelizable tasks that are of interest. And this is what we're talking about, is something that's highly parallelizable, because that's what your graphics pipeline is all about. You've got lots of separate things that have no interaction with each other, all going on, and you just say, right, well, you have X number of things replicated, and you just, because they can all be done at the same time, you just do them all at the same time.
Yeah, I think, and that's really why. In fact, it's why
That's what makes it fast.
right. Yeah, but it's the Sega Saturn took ages to get an emulator. I don't even think they've got a totally working emulator for that,
Well, this
because
is the thing.
that
most
was
of these
the architecture was really weird,
Well,
and
again, it's like most
the
of these,
Dreamcast was really weird. Oh, okay, so the PS1 was easy.
Most of these older ones, probably, the problem is not so much that you wouldn't have the hardware power to emulate them. The problem is
to emulate all these little bits.
Any machine of any age, even if you took your humble ZX Spectrum, of which I'm very familiar with the emulator scene for that, right? We're not necessarily talking about emulating the Z80, the basic CPU, or even the ULA, the custom hardware that controlled like the display output and the tape input, right? We're talking about electronics, right? You've also got to emulate the connections. If you want to have perfect emulation, then you're also talking about like quirks, like
it's hardly ever going to happen though. Who would want like totally perfect emulation?
People do. Like, because well, you say that, but even within the case of, say, who want total perfect emulation, an interesting thing, even within the same way hardware family, actual hardware, is this thing called the display ports, which isn't actually a thing, but it was on the Spectrum earlier models, pre Amstrad, when they did circuit redesign, you could read a port. It wasn't intended to do so, but you could read this ports, and it happened to be the case that you would get a different value based upon this floating thing in the display hardware of the ULA, the Universal Logic Array, which would tell you basically whether or not you're drawing on the border. And there was older software that was using that in order to determine whether they can do a VSync, basically, right? Now, when Amstrad had redesigned the hardware for, like, I know you have a...
To make it cheaper, yeah.
No, well, not that, I mean, it's not necessary to make it cheaper. In fact, most of it was actually more reliably designed. It's like, because a lot of the history of the Spectrum was like, this is cheaply put together stuff in order to get the cost down as much as possible. And it sounds like, they broke something, but actually by improving the reliability of the hardware, they actually removed this thing that, not in purpose, just purely by accident, that was some software was lying on, which then subsequently broke because it was relying on a feature that
wasn't there. Yeah, it was relying on something that's not there anymore because, like, they just got rid of it.
It was just, well, but my point is, Kat, they weren't trying to get rid of it, and nobody ever intended for it to be there in the first place.
Yeah,
this is the sort of thing I'm talking about, right? Yeah, it's all those because you got to remember, like, some clever developer. Basically, it was some clever developer who
figured out. I can just do it. I can just do it this way instead of fucking about with all this shit. I can just do it this way because that's the way it works.
But it was never intended. Now, to what extent that exists on any particular system you might want to name,
knows. It depends on the developer.
Well, exactly. But that's where.
And if you're wanting backward compatibility, if you're wanting backward compatibility on all the consoles,
well, this is where the emulators.
That's where it breaks down, right? No, but I'm saying even for Sony that would break down.
But exactly,
like, when I know they had.
Unless you actually have the hardware, but in particular for the PS3. Now, for the PS2, the PS1. Yes, probably you can get away with just emulating it. The PS3 in particular has a very unique hardware, a very specialized hardware. which I think you'd find incredibly difficult to emulate with any traditional CPU architecture you
I
get
think
from
that's
fucking
why they
Intel.
didn't. I think that's why they didn't do it on the PS4. They were
It's
like,
just too
nah.
fucking difficult.
And there was
Basically, the easiest thing to do, if you wanted to do it, you basically just put another PS3 inside the fucking thing, and
well, that's what
that
they
would be
did
it.
with the PS3 to emulate the PS2. They had the Emotion Engine. It was called
Well,
the
there you go.
Emotion Engine on the PS2, and basically with the new PS3s, so to cut down on the price of the PS3, the first run had a whole Emotion Engine, basically a PS2 hardware inside it, as well as a PS3. And to cut the price down, the later ones took took that out, and they couldn't run PS2 games anymore for a while.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean,
That was it.
that's
It was the Emotion Engine on the PS. Hang on, I'm right about that. Is it the Emotion?
there is stuff. There, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like called the Emotion or the Motion FX chip or something like that.
The Emotion Engine. The Emotion Engine. CPU core description. Yeah, it's a PS2. So the Emotion Engine on the PS2. Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, that's what they did. So the new PS3 came out and it was backward compatible with PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games. But to enable the PlayStation 2 games, they just whacked the hardware in it because
Well, it's very much
it's
like
complicated.
well, exactly, very much like the Amiga. The Amiga obviously had a lot of very custom chips for doing what it did.
Anyway, well,
again,
end it there on for YouTube, and because we've been going for an hour, fucking hell. And then you go airradio.co.uk for the rest of the show.
or
Yeah,
or not, or if you couldn't
don't.
understand a cat, go to arifradio.co.uk
There you go.
in English, not just in Scotland.
Right, what was it again?
Arif.co.uk.
No,
AERITH.
radio.
Radio.
.co.uk.
Arif.radio.
No, no, it's one word. It's one word. It's one word. Airithradio.co.uk.
Are you sure about that? You want
Yes.
to say it one more time?
Airithradio.co.uk for the rest of the
Okay.
show.
There we go.
There we go. Right. Bye, YouTubes.